Hey everybody, Digital Sticks here, and today I'm attempting to make a video that basically this is to hopefully be a foundation to help other content I hope to create come along. And so I'm coming out as not straight, but it's not even a coming out as in a personal coming out. I mean, it is a new reveal for the channel, not necessarily everybody that watches it. But it's not like this is not a moment that's going to be liberating for me. it's it's just it's important to be authentic, and especially when I want to talk about some of this more meaningful content and get into that, I want to have the proper frame perspective on myself and my own relation to it. And this is a personal struggle as well. It's only been in this past week that I've actually felt like I understand my sexuality completely as much as needed. It doesn't mean I still wouldn't learn some more stuff going forward, but the agonizing level, the concerning and disturbing level of uncertainty and questions, I think, are finally resolved. And the good thing is this last round of questions, ultimately the answer was mostly a confirmation of the perspective I settled on before, but I was still short of, apparently leaping to a conclusion wasn't going to cut it. I had to actually concretely feel the solution. So that will lead to tangents upon tangents, but that is a very important thing I would like to share because I do think it can help other people go through. Because I found myself outside of the norms for a lot of the discovery process when I was trying to really reach some conclusions there. And so this has caused me quite a bit of pain and really uncertainty and it's and only through uh, brute trauma, brute force. I don't know. I know for a fact it's unchangeable. Um, anyways, but it's everyone's story is kind of unique, and there's a lot of aspects of mine that are certainly far less significant on the identity front than other people have it. So in no way am I trying to really make anything too terribly significant out of my sexuality here. It is not a core identity issue with me. Uh, Needing to be and desiring to be authentic is a core identity with me, which is part of this conversation. But I just want to relate at the proper level with the LGBT community and with other people when I discuss the LGBTQ community or anything I know related to that. Um, so that's what this is about. But I'm not. I don't. It's not a point of pride for me. It's not a point of shame. It's not a point of pride. It's just a matter of trying to be authentic and real and as accurate as possible while no label fully fits. So, with that said, I'm also trying not to be too much information, but I'm just trying to paint the right picture. And I've done countless retakes on this, but all kinds of things have messed it up, from coughing at the wrong time to going off on a tangent or whatever. And my voice is not cooperating today. Even with throat coat tea, it's not cooperating. So, anyways, um, so without being too graphic or anything, if it were, when it comes to turn-ons, I'm bisexual, pansexual, whatever sexual would describe somebody that is open for a lot of things. I'm not describing anything weird, illegal, anything like that. Just your basic categories. So I'd say probably bisexual, or pansexual, because yeah, transgenders don't bother me either. They're no less of a, anyways. But that is strictly an anonymous, mindless, that's just a raw turn on perspective. And if this is unique to me, then it's unique to me. But it does not relate to my core and what I actually want to do. That might have related to had I not had religious reservations or whatever at a younger age. That might have translated into perhaps some experimenting or something, or maybe, I don't know. But it certainly doesn't have any bearing on who I am today, other than it's just a reality. So, if that's a big problem for people, then being authentic necessitates saying, well, if you think someone's bisexual because they're turned on in any respect, then okay, count me in. But that didn't matter to me because I'm attracted to and desire and interested in and form relationships with the female gender. So I've always known that with cisgender women. Thanks to VR chat, I was able to discover that applied to transgender women. And then later, working through that, because that was a surprise connection, and working through that, I discovered really it applied to effeminate men who were genuine in their feminine identity, or who I perceived as genuine, who struck me as genuine. And that was, and in that respect, I'm talking about they're more compelling. Like I haven't met anyone and connected to anyone on a level that's a femboy or anything that I could envision a future with, but I basically have discovered the potential. And the thing is, the other thing to add more clarity to this, I know some people be like, "Oh, straight people could be with trans women, and that don't make them gay and all that." And you know what? I'm not even trying to get in on that. I'm not disputing that. I'm not for. I don't. What? Let people work that out for themselves. I'm fine with that, except for that doesn't. I'm not surprised completely. Like it's not a shock. It's more, for me, it was a first to discover that something that with intimacy, genitalia didn't matter. And that's because I'm not attracted to men in person, in passing, not really at all. There's never been a struggle, never been a question mark. And that's part of what's been confusing. It's like, not trying to get a number, not trying, nothing like that. I never felt anything like that towards gay men either. So, cause I'm like, well, maybe straight men, I'm just not. And anyways, gay men either. So the male gender doesn't conjure up any kind of attraction or desire to form an intimate relationship or anything like that. But again, from a porn perspective, that's just where this kind of comes. That's the easiest way to clarify what I'm trying to say here. The turn on from that is alive and well, I guess I should say. So that's why I'm not trying to say that I'm straight and trying to find justification for why, and I'm not, this isn't a matter of whether trans women are valid women or anything like that. I'm an ally, I fully support. It is their validity that helped bring me clarity. But the point is, I wasn't surprised necessarily that, it wasn't like the important thing there was the intimacy connection was a first. And it's the first thing that brings anything other than just straight relationships into the real realm of my identity and realistic possibilities, I should say. So that said, I don't see any trouble with myself having a monogamous married relationship with a cis woman. I don't feel like I have curiosities that are practically a bucket list or anything like that. Um, I don't even expect, I don't have any predictions on what, if anything, I would actually do differently than I've already done, other than understand myself. But that's very important to the level that I empathize with, relate to, and understand the LGBTQ community. And obviously, it's an important backdrop to the things I hope to share later that could perhaps help somebody else who's struggling with their identity. Because I'm I'm definitely an example that you can fall outside of the box, outside the mainstream conversation, and you can be left completely alone with that. And like in my case, I didn't have like I wasn't without a valid path for a valid relationship, but my sexuality wasn't a non-issue. It couldn't be a non-issue. The only way for it to not be an issue was for it to be a complete secret on my part. And at that point, it's a prison. And the last place I want to have a complete secret is in a married relationship that I'm committed to for better or for worse for life. If that can't be fully open, there's no point to it. So, yeah, it's not a non issue. And the confusion or the questions and the intensity or the clear struggle, I imagine that's quite disturbing to a straight person that can't relate to it. And anyways, uh, so I've had some suffering attached to it for sure, some agony and all of that, and then it's been used against me, and I think intentionally, deliberately to cause pain. But I don't rule out a certain element of that intent to cause pain also being a reflection of some real um, concerns or perceptions that were arrived at because of that. For example, the the ex-wife. I have a late wife and I have an ex-wife. But the ex-wife, pretty much sure she mostly used it just to try to hurt me in the end. But it's not impossible that somewhere along there that she really did wonder whether I really desired her or whatever. And, if there was any legitimate self-doubt, then even though she's toxic beyond just anything that would be responsible for, what matters to me going forward is that I'm aware of and don't get in a relationship with somebody who's going to be hurt by my sexual identity. And I think I've discovered that the questions are worse than the reality. Like I feel like there's better hope of having a firmly established understanding and having somebody not have an issue with that than there was about the questions. And I can understand that because the questions had me thinking, wow, because the fact that it wouldn't just go away while I wasn't even trying to consider alternatives to my marriage or anything like that was the power of it was concerning. And then, I wondered what other shoe might drop once I discovered more through my transgender friend and stuff like that. Nothing else really did, and now I'm pretty confident nothing else will. Um, if I should have been or would have been simply bisexual or something like that, then whatever changes I did trying to stay on a religiously appropriate path or whatever were successful enough to take that off the radar screen. I mean, that's foreign to me. There's no, and because I'm not interested in hookups at this point, there's no meaningful scenario for a relationship with a strictly male. For me, there's nothing's come to mind, and believe me, I think I've left enough doors open to figure that one out if that was going to be the case. But in any case, that's all I'm laying down, and it's basically as a groundwork if this is helpful to anybody, so be it. But this is mostly a groundwork for how I approach additional content on this. And it sucks my voice is not holding up to this. Okay, on a final thought for that, though, let me just clarify this female avatar. The female gender part of it is not related to my identity. I'm not talking about the female. There's something else in the message of it. The humility, the humble, the approachable, gentle, maybe even likable. There's other aspects of this that reflect who I am that I like. So, and I like the fact that the gender is a non-issue. And also, I wanted to kind of, because I do still DJ and stuff like that, I was going to kind of keep this on a different thread than my DJ avatar or stuff like that. So just make a distinction between the content, at least for now, unless there becomes a more solid direction or whatever. So, but I want to clarify that in case that, to people that haven't played VR Chat or other games or something, they can really get hung up on the gender of avatars, and that it's okay if you're hung up on it for your personal preference, but just know that the gender of an avatar says really nothing until a person wants it to say something, and then they'll usually tell you, or it'll be self-evident. And if they don't tell you and it's not self-evident, then it's not your business. But in this case, yeah, I'm not that part, I don't have gender dysphoria in any capacity that I've recognized. So not an issue there. But, so anyways, you guys take care. Thanks for watching. Hopefully find this at least postable in spite of my voice. If you like this content, be sure to click like and everything else. Subscribe, of course. And I'll see you on the next one. But yeah, going next, there's just a lot of meaningful connections to make here that I think could be helpful. I don't know when they're coming or whatever, but the hope is this as a foundation might allow me to find a better pointed focus for several different videos to share this content. Starting from scratch with nothing on the table, it was too much. And so hopefully this helps. Thank you, and I am out.